This podcast is a proud member of Pod Nation Media Network. Are you tired of the coffee crash? Still jitter an hour after your morning cup of coffee? Listen, I used to drink 5, 6, 7 cups a day to just keep going. The anxiety, the stomach pains, the afternoon crash, it was brutal. Then I discovered Rise Coffee, and everything changed. Rise has less than half the caffeine as regular coffee, but here's the magic. It contains 6 organic mushrooms, including cordyceps, lion's mane, and others that naturally sustain your energy without the jitters or crash. We're talking sharper focus, immune support, better gut health, and calm, sustained energy that lasts all day. Plus, it's organic, vegan, and has 0 added sugars. Unlike other mushroom coffees, Rise is USA grown in California. A full spectrum of mushrooms per serving that actually works. Here at Pod Nation, we only partner with brands we actually believe in. And Rise Coffee is the real deal. Head to risesuperfoods.com and use promo code PODNA15 for 15% off your order. That's PODNA 15 for 15% off. Ditch the crash. Fuel your day the right way with Rise Coffee.
I see ghosts, specters all around me, living in stock, blazing the dark. One by one, pictures gather around me. Where those moonflowers used to last no more. Specters gather around here, living in stock, blazing the dark. Night by night, stare into the black where moonflowers used to grow.
Back, everybody, to another episode of Paranormal the New Normal. I'm your host, as always, Jeremy, here trying to, make the world seem a little more normal. Does it ever happen? God, no. It's not going to happen in this month of all months. So let's get on with the show and enjoy the hell out of the weirdness, because it's that time of year. And I am being joined today by a very special guest for this weekend edition, Rachel Varitimos, evolutionary astrologer. Yes, we've had a few of those on, but they're always fun to talk to, so I always invite them on as soon as I see them. How you doing today, Rachel?
I'm doing great. How are you, Jeremy?
Doing all right. The battle of the bronchitis is finally close to over, and I can podcast without coughing my brains out anymore, so it's a great day. But start off, though, same question I ask everybody on this show. What made you walk down this spiritual path that you walk on a daily basis now?
Oh my God, so many things. So it's really the fact that my personal development journey started when I was 9. I was like an obese 9-year-old who begged my parents to let me go to weight loss camp, and I did lose the weight. And ever since then, I just became obsessed with transformation. But finding easier ways to transform, because my first transformation took 16 years of me obsessively researching food and my body and all these different things so I could have a normal body weight. And I took the much more mental, logical, realistic approach, looking at all these different studies and things like that. And really the magic started happening in my life when I stopped looking outside of me and I stopped looking for answers from everyone else, and I started using astrology to find answers within myself. And so I usually talk about astrology a little bit differently. I don't really talk about it in a way where these things are just going to happen to you, and I'm extremely specific in my predictions. I look at astrology as energetic currents in the sky, kind of like a current in the water, right? And you can either jump in a current. I think of like Finding Nemo, how Nemo wanted to get home faster, and so he jumped into the current in the ocean, and it brought him to Australia way faster than if he were to swim on his own. And the way I discovered to use astrology like that was like 5 years ago. I got my first birth chart reading. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I had just spent the first 20 something years of my life studying nutrition, thinking I was going to be a nutritionist. And at my first birth chart reading, I had been attending a lot of retreats that past year, women's retreats, because one of the biggest wounds I had been healing throughout my lifetime was abandonment wounds from women, because I didn't have a lot of friends when I was younger. Women abandoned me. That's why I was so motivated to go to a weight loss camp in the first place. And when I went to all these women's retreats, I thought, wow, I want to host a retreat too, but I have no business hosting a retreat. So when I got my first birth chart reading, she told me about my past life and my south node and my north node, which I use heavily in my practice today. And it's why I call myself an evolutionary astrologer. So we can talk more about that. But basically, your south node is your past life and where you come from. And she told me about my past life. And the way she talked about it made me feel like I had hosted retreats in a past life. And so I took what she said, because she said I was returning to a past life, which happens when you have a nodal reverse return. And I decided to host a retreat, even though I had never hosted one in my life. And in 1 month, I filled my first retreat with 14 people. And it was one of the most magical things that had ever happened in my life. It felt like I had quantum leaped. And it was only because I used the astrology to hold my hand as I went into the unknown. And before that, I would have never guessed I could have hosted a retreat. I would have never had the confidence. I had no business hosting one. And then after that, I just started using astrology to give me those kind of insights and inspiration. And I became obsessed with it. And it's how I actually became an astrologer, was through following the astrology. And now I say I use astrology to hop timelines every 3 months, because I truly believe you can change your life if you hop into the currents and the flow of the astrology. And I've seen it in more than just my life. I see it in all of my clients' life. I just, one of my clients who I've been with for 6 months, we just wrote all of his wins out from the last 6 months. And he was like, holy crap, this is more transformation I've had in the last 6 months than I've had in the last 10 years. And so that's really how I got into astrology, is realizing how powerful it is and how magical it can make your life, and how it is the perfect tool to provide clarity and insight into you, so that you can trust yourself more and do the things that you want to do, but maybe you're too afraid to say yes to.
So much I want to touch on here. Well, first things first, I 100% relate to your journey, because I was a fat kid as well. I never went to any weight loss camps because I thought that was just a thing in heavyweights. I didn't think that was a real thing. But I never actually realized that was a real thing until I got way older. But
want to know what's funny? The weight loss camp I went to, they based heavyweights off of my camp that I went to. That movie.
That sounds like a bad thing. But
it was I did not learn healthy habits at that camp. That's why it took me 20 years of continued research after that camp.
Was Ben Stiller the head of the camp?
No, unfortunately not.
Yeah, I mean, I know that battle. It took me. I mean, I didn't fight it for a long time. For a long time, I kind of just accepted this is who I was, and it's not going to change. And then eventually, actually, like 2 years ago, surgery finally changed that. It took 30, 40 years, but surgery finally changed that. But I went about it the somewhat easy way out. I wouldn't say it's 100% easy, but it's the somewhat easy way out. But I am now about 130 pounds lower than I was, and I am at a weight I haven't been since I was like in the end of middle school, beginning of high school. So it's been a long journey, and I finally got there. So now I just look like I look like Hagrid, but it works.
No, you look great right now. That's like, congratulations.
Yeah, it took. I fought it for a long time. I had doctors recommend the surgery to me since I was a teenager, and I just kept fighting it, saying no. I'm like, this is who I am. I don't want to change it. And I got married. Then I got married and had kids, and I'm like, I need to change it for health reasons. So I'm like, health reasons are now prevalent, and I need to make sure I'm here for my kids. I don't want to have a heart attack in a couple of years and leave my wife and kids struggling. So, no, I need to take control of this finally. So, I actually was supposed to have it back in like 2019, but then COVID pushed it off, and then my insurance pushed it off, and then years later it finally happened. But it was a battle. It was a battle, but I respect the battle, and I respect that you did it on your own. That's freaking something I never could do. Even as a kid, I never wanted to put that much effort into it to try to stop it. My parents tried everything they could. My mom took me to Weight Watchers and all that crap, and it never stuck. I didn't want to look at myself as different. That was always the thing. I didn't want to see myself as different. I look down, and I always say to this day, I look down, I still see the same person I've always been. Like, I look the same if I look down at my body in the morning before I get in the shower. I look the same. Other people can see the difference. Other people can see the difference. I can't. I've always been blind to how I look.
Yeah.
So it's just
I've
one of those
heard that a
things.
lot. Like, I used to have really body dysmorphia. I had a lot of eating disorders after the weight loss camp, and I could never tell what size I actually was. And that was part of like what I really healed after 20 years, was realizing, oh, I just needed to connect more to myself and trust my body, because it's almost like I couldn't see myself, and maybe you can relate to this, because I felt so disconnected from eating versus my body. Like, I was more so controlling my eating and making diets versus being like, body, what do you want? And trusting that my body wouldn't like blow up if I gave it what it wanted. And so, yeah, I really relate with what you're saying. I think a lot of people can relate with it.
It's yeah. I mean, I've guested on a lot of podcasts that are specific about weight loss battles and journeys, and it's a very common topic. It's a very big issue, especially in America. It's a very big issue, and I mean, it doesn't help that reality TV also glamorizes shows like My 600-Pound Life and My 1,000-Pound Sisters, or whatever the hell it is. Like, I can't watch that garbage because I'm just like, I don't want to watch this. Why would you put this on TV and embarrass these people? Like, why would they agree to be embarrassed like this? I mean, it's for the money, obviously, but why would they agree to it? Like, it's just, I don't get it. You could never pay me when I was younger to go on TV and talk about being fat. It just, no, you couldn't pay me enough. It wouldn't, to embarrass myself like that, I wouldn't do it. But, well, this show is not about that, thankfully, because it wouldn't have been running as long as it has been if it was. But astrology, however, though, we've had a few astrologers on here, and I've actually had an astrologer read my birth chart while on the show, and birth charts are very, very accurate, and it's kind of scary how accurate they are to who you are. Like, everything he said, I was like, oh my god, how does this thing know me so well? Like, it's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't get over it. Like, I couldn't get over how much a freaking chart about where the stars were when I was born could predict everything about me. It's just ridiculously creepy, and I get it, that makes sense, but it just, to me, is creepy. But let's go into what, in your definition, what is evolutionary astrology? Because I've heard it before, but my listeners may have heard it before, but everybody's definitions of what they do is always a little bit different, and that's the great thing. Everybody puts their own spin on things.
Yeah, so I call myself an evolutionary astrologer because I work with the North Node and the South Node, and not a lot of astrologers talk about the North Node and the South Node. But when I give people birth chart readings, I tend to focus on those parts of the birth chart, because I'm all about using astrology to help people evolve and help people bring their gifts from their past lives into this life. And that's what evolutionary astrology is it talks about your past life, or if you don't believe in past lives, you can look at it as early childhood. It talks about the energy, like where you came from, and how that's actually the gifts that you've brought into this world. How the energy, wherever your South Node is, the sign in the house it's in, is where you've mastered. You've spent many lifetimes doing this. Conversely, the North Node is opposite of the South Node. Wherever your North Node is in your chart, it's like you're a newborn baby in this lifetime to that area of your life, to this energy. And so I look at your North Node as your North Star. The more you go and try to embody that North Node energy, because it's so far out of your comfort zone, the more everything else in your life works out, and you start transcending your chart, and you can grow from the lower vibration of your chart to the higher vibration of your chart, and really create like limitless possibilities in your life. And I look at every placement you have in your birth chart as something that has limitless possibilities within it. And it's why I actually look at myself as a different astrologer, because I don't just like, I'll never give a recorded reading to someone, and I'll never give a typed out reading. I like my readings to be a co-creative experience where I tell people the energy, and then they reflect on how it fits into their life with their own intuition. Because in that way, I found that astrology really connects with people and allows them to trust themselves and what they want more, as opposed to me telling them who they should be and what they should do. It's like I give them the general flavor, and then I'm like, you tell me how you fit into that. because that's how you connect back to yourself and build that trust in yourself. And so whenever I give readings, I teach people to embody more of that North Node energy, because that's out of their comfort zone. It's going to help them grow and evolve, hence evolutionary astrologer. And then with the South Node energy, I teach them where they're wounded, where they overdid their gifts, because you can always have too much of something, right? Like people can have too much of their gifts, where they leaned on their comfort zone, their gifts too much, and it ended up wounding them. So we release the wounding together through going over their chart. And then we talk about how they can keep embodying this North Star so that they grow and evolve in a fast-paced way in their life.
As someone who was a fat kid, yes, you can get too much of one thing. That's 100% true. To the kid in me that would sit there watching a Godfather movie while eating 2 bags of marshmallows, yes, like 100%, you can get too much of a good thing. You can get too much of the comfort you want. But it's good times. But Jesus, I'm surprised I didn't go into a diabetic coma. I really am. But totally. Amazingly, my blood sugar was always good. I honestly think I'm some kind of miracle, because I don't know how the hell my blood sugar's always been good. I used to eat the worst foods imaginable.
Wow. Well, I mean, I belief in, like, if you think you're okay and you don't think it's going to be that bad for you, I believe that can keep you afloat, you know?
Yeah, well,
but
that's what happens when you live down the street from a general store and your parents leave you home alone. But
oh yeah. But yeah, it's too much of a good thing. Like, if I even used my nodes as an example, my South Node is in Gemini. And so one of my gifts is my ability to learn. Gemini is about learning, and I can learn and retain information really quickly. It's how I became an astrologer so quickly. But the thing is when I was learning too much, it disconnected me from myself and made me trust all of this information outside of me. And so that's what I mean by you can do too much of a gift or too much of an energy. Like, it's good to learn, and I'm a really good learner, but there's a point when you overlearn and you don't trust yourself anymore. And so my North Star, for example, is learning to trust myself more. And the more I trust myself, I'll also bring in my gifts of learning without giving my power away to the learning. That's what helps my life work out. And so every single person listening to this has that in their chart. It tells them your gifts. I'm curious what your South Node would be. I don't know if you know what it is.
I mean, off the top of my head, I have no freaking idea. I was born on May 26, 1988. I mean, if that could tell you, I don't know. Be my guest. I mean, I have no problem. I'm doing a lot. In a couple weeks, I'm going to be having a live psychic reading done on the show.
Oh, really?
A guest I had this previous week on the show, she reached out and we really clicked over our love of 90s Nickelodeon. So she's like, I would love to come on your show and do a live psychic reading if that's okay with you. And I'm like, I have had many live things done on this show. I have no problem with my listeners knowing more about me. I have nothing to hide.
That's perfect. That's fun. So what's your birthday? Or unless you want to type it in the chat for it to be private, your birthday and your birthday.
May 26, 1988. It's ain't nothing nobody can do with that. So
what time were you born?
Around 8 in the morning. I'm not exactly sure on the exact time. I always have a problem with that. I want to say 8:47, I think.
8:47?
But that number, I feel like my mom's told me that number so many times in my life and it sticks out in my head, but I can't be sure.
Where were you born?
Kingston, New York.
Oh, Kingston, New York. You weren't Kingston.
Oh yeah, I'm not a Massachusetts native. I migrated up here about 8 years ago now. 9 years ago. Just yeah, it's been a while. Feels like yesterday. But yeah.
So, oh wow. Okay. So yeah, you have a Virgo South Node. So you come from a place of potentially let me see where your Mercury is. You likely were a deep learner and maybe perfectionistic about learning, like always wanting to get more into the details and get better details. You have Virgo on the South Node. So when people have Virgo South Nodes, I find that they really need to be of service. They want to help people. They want to be of service. And they're always trying to find new ways that they can improve what people can do, what they can do. And they're constantly looking for that. I find Virgo South Nodes to actually be very, where'd your chart just go? Very hard workers when it comes to other people. And they really want to master things. And are really good with speaking. You actually have really good speaking capabilities with this Virgo.
There's a reason there's a reason I'm a multi-podcaster, and there's a reason that I am in sales in my 9 to 5 job, because I'm good at talking.
Yeah. And so you're also very in the material realm and like very practical, but your North Star is to be more spiritual. So you've probably become more spiritual over your lifetime. Typically, people are obsessed with the energy of their North Node, even though it's out of their comfort zone. So for you, you are really heading towards more of a spiritual approach to life, being more surrendered, not needing to be so perfectionistic, but like having routines that keep you healthy, or having routines that make your day-to-day easier while also surrendering the rest and not needing to be overly rigid about things.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, that was this podcast for the last 2.5 years has really done that. Like, it's pushed me to be. I was always anti-organized religion from a teenager on. I was atheist and agnostic, and then I slowly, now I don't even know what I'm still agnostic, but I still like to name. I don't like to name things. But I am spiritual now because I have talked to so many people over 260-ish episodes over the last 2.5 years that my beliefs have changed on a weekly, monthly basis, like based on what I learn and what they tell me. So, yeah, I mean, 100%. That would make sense if my North Node is to be spiritual, because that's the way it's going. I've tried so many different types of spirituality practices because of people I've talked to. I've tried to let go of control. I do like routine. It's always been a thing. I like routine, but I've been trying with kids and a wife. You really don't have that much routine, so you try to let go and be more relaxed with just going with the flow sometimes.
Yeah, it almost like forces you to surrender. It actually makes so much sense that you have one-on-one guests on too, because that's also part of your North Node, is exploring different spiritual belief systems with guests one-on-one. That's hilarious. Well, look at you. You're doing your North Node proud right now.
What can I say? I mean, it's like I said, birth charts are freaking creepily accurate. It always is. And I mean, it's actually funny because I haven't had my birth chart read now in probably 2 years, and that person was not an evolutionary astrologer, but so he focused on a different type of thing, kind of a little different. But so, see, folks, birth charts are eerily accurate. Eerily, I will say. But and the fact that you can find all that out by just so little information. I mean, it's mind blowing. Why can't people accept this as like everybody should be getting this done as a regular practice so they know what to go for? I mean, but people are ignorant and don't want to admit there's other things out there that can help them.
Yeah, I think what it is I do think in some senses astrology has gotten a bad name because of how people have used it. Like, I think that there's, I hear a lot of people say to me, I want to get a birth chart reading, but it's hard to like weed out who's a charlatan and who's not a charlatan. And, I don't think a charlatan can really exist in astrology if you use astrology in an empowering way, but I can see why people would call someone a charlatan, because some people are highly predictive and they're like, well, this is going to happen and it's just going to happen exactly that way. And like, they try to do exact specific predictions. And I do think, like I said in the beginning of this podcast, that takes people's power away and can actually lead to a more toxic use of astrology. And I'll even give an example, because I used astrology in a super disempowering way for a lot of my life, which is why I got really into the evolutionary astrology and understanding it in a different way. But like, I used to go on astrology apps, and I'm curious if you can relate to this, and I would use the horoscopes and the information on there as reasons why my boyfriend would break up with me and we won't last, as reasons why this might not work out, as you know what I'm saying? I would use it as a reason why something bad could happen, or why I'm not good enough, or why I'm going to be stuck this way forever. And so sometimes I think when we just get readings and someone's not having a conversation with us about it and they're just telling you how it is, I think that's what's given astrology a bad name, because it's people who don't know you telling you things about you and not giving you any wiggle room to be anything else.
It's the same as twofold answer here. Mm-hmm. It's the same as any spiritual practitioner. And people have right to be weary, because there have been a lot of charlatans over the years. As I've said in the show many times, I was brought up in the 90s. I was told, never go waste your money on the psychic at the carnival. Never go waste your money on that little house on Main Street that has psychic readings in big bold letters on the front window. I was taught not to waste money on those things because they're all fakes and they are just trying to make a buck. So it took me a long time to accept that these things are real. Even when I started this podcast, I still had a lot of misgivings and a lot of skepticism. It took me a long time to actually see things happen after I got readings and see everything play out the way they said it was going to play out. I'd be like, and just looking people in their eyes when you talk to them about this, like maybe it's something with me where I can sense that, but when I look someone in the eyes when I'm talking to them, I could tell they're not lying to me. I could straight up tell that nothing they're saying is false. And they're, at least in their belief system, nothing they're saying is false. They believe they're truly doing what they do. And I can see that they are doing what they do. I can see it. I can sense it. So, because I am an empath, I've been told, apparently. So I never knew that until a couple years ago, but I apparently am. So I can sense things like that. So there's good reason for people to be concerned about charlatans because they're out there. They are. They're going to be in every profession, in every managers, freaking restaurant owners. There's charlatans everywhere. It's just the way life goes. You have to be wary no matter what you're doing. So I sympathize for those people. I do. But, and what the fuck was the second part? And yeah, I mean, and there are people out there who are, and you want to know if I can relate to that somewhat. I'm going to age myself here yet again because when I was in my early 20s, I used to every day at the pizza place I managed, I used to sit there and read the newspaper and look at my horoscope every day. And then, I'm going to lose money today. I'm not going to make a lot of money today because my horoscope says so. I am going to get turned down by this girl I'm asking out today because my horoscope says so. That's the reason I'm single, because my horoscope said so. Yeah, I was a fat adolescent. No, not an adolescent. I was a fat young 20-something at that point. So I looked for reasons beyond myself why things didn't work out in romantic endeavors and everything else. Like, it's just the way it went. But, and anybody who's been overweight and has had self-esteem issues can relate to that, I'm pretty sure. Mm-hmm. But we look for other reasons besides ourselves why things don't work out. But
yeah,
it takes a lot of self-acceptance and a lot of looking in the mirror to really be like, I need to change this, I need to change that, and I need to make this happen. It takes a lot of that. You need to you need to work on your personality. You need to work on your self-esteem, your confidence. Because if you don't have that, you're not going to be in a healthy relationship ever. Because there are literally predators out there who will seek that and use that to their advantage when they try to date you. So
totally. I'm really big on reminding people they create their own reality and that these are just energetic potentials and possibilities. And that's why I always like to tell people there's a low vibration of an aspect in your chart and there's a high vibration, and you don't have to be in this lower vibration. I think that's what I used to do when I would choose, like, this means I'm not going to last with my boyfriend. It's because I took the energy and I made it mean something bad. But we're meaning making machines, and you could literally, the way I found astrology fast tracks your healing is if you make the most positive, optimistic meaning out of everything that you get, and you choose to believe that life's going to work out even better because of the astrology.
I mean, personally, we are our own worst enemies. That is 100% the truest thing ever said. We are our own worst enemies in this world, and people like say, "Oh, I'm a victim." No, you may have been a victim, but you made yourself that way. You made yourself be the victim because you can't be a victim. And this is not true. This is not true for everything. I mean, trust me, you could be a victim, not of your own making, but in certain circumstances. But 90% of the time, you're a victim because you let yourself be a victim, because you made yourself be a victim, because you not purposefully, just because that's the way your mind worked. Because you were not looking for someone who was good for you in any way. You're looking for someone who's bad for you, and you're looking for someone who is going to be harmful to you because that's the only person that you think would accept you. Mm-hmm. Am I wrong in that?
Yeah, I think people just don't even know that they can think another way. That's what the case was for me. And so no shame in using it in that way. And it's why I like to use myself as an example, because I thought I chose the negative side for most of my life. And it's why I love evolutionary astrology, because it really talks about how you're not stuck. And I think like negative mindset comes with a fixed mindset, thinking that you can't shift it, that you have no power over it. And what I love empowering people with is that you literally can change anything with your mind. You literally are that powerful. And even if you haven't done it your whole life, like I remember there was a time in my 20s when I was still struggling with disordered eating and stuff after my weight loss camp, where I thought to myself, wow, I've been on this personal development journey for 16 years and I don't even feel close to loving myself. And I thought it was impossible to love myself. And what helped, but now today I can say, damn, I really do love myself. And it's only because I chose to make positive meaning out of the astrology. And it's just a moment, it's a choice you can make any moment in time. You could choose to start thinking differently about your life if you give yourself enough gusto right now. And so to me, at this point, I have too much evidence that you can change, I can change, other people can change. I always say, if I can change, I was the person who didn't talk to anyone when I was a kid. I was severely depressed, had no friends, was very obese, and now I have the complete opposite life. And it's not because I'm special or lucky, it's a choice. And that's why I think astrology can be so powerful, because it gives you choices. It's like, do you want to choose to think about it this way? Because this energy could make you think about it that way, or you could choose to use this energy, like I said, the Finding Nemo thing, hop in like the higher vibration and see where that takes you. And the more you choose that, you'll start to bring more evidence into your life that you do have more power to create your reality than you realize.
See, I was the exact opposite of you. I loved myself too much, and that became a downfall, because when you love yourself too much, you think that nobody can hurt you because you love yourself, but that's not true. Like, it's still not true. I mean, there has to be a healthy balance, and either way, if you go too far in either direction, you're gonna be setting yourself up for downfall. But that was so it's funny because we went in the opposite direction completely. Like I as a defense mechanism, even I taught myself to love myself too much, and I thought I was the greatest thing. I thought I was God's gift on earth, and my mother would, for years as a teenager, would try to tell me, you're not. You need to get this out of your head and stop thinking that you're the greatest thing to ever come on this earth. I mean, because she was doing the right thing. She was trying to, knock my ego down a little bit, which it needed to be knocked down. I could admit that later in life. I could admit that. Hell, my wife to this day still says I need to knock my ego down a little bit. But it's just, sometimes you can't change who you are. And I mean, you guys, well, whoops, myself, but you guys watch the warning signs. There's warning signs for all of this. It's the universe, it's fate. They're trying to warn you. You're going down a path you don't want to go down. Kind of turn around, go down the side path. Go down the side path and go in the middle of it all, and see how it works out for you. But
well, I also think I do think that there is a balance. To me, the way I define self-love is loving myself even when I mess up, loving myself even if other people try to knock me down. Because what's the point of being knocked down? Like, what's the point in feeling bad about yourself? I actually don't think I think it's not good to be arrogant and walk around like you know everything and you're better than anyone. But I do think it's good to affirm yourself and feel good about yourself, and not to think that you're better than other people, but I actually believe we're all one. Like, I believe that when you love yourself, you also can love other people more, because I really believe we're a reflection of one another and that we're all connected. At least that's been my experience in mushroom journeys and plant medicine journeys.
I mean, yeah, we've had a lot of episodes about that. Those are good topics. But I mean, yeah, it's true though. You can't love other people and give love to other people until you love yourself, and that's 100% a true statement. Because I personally hated people for a good decade and a half of my life. I hated people as a general thing. I didn't show it always, because you work for tips, you gotta kind of fake yourself. But it's just. But that's what it is. I mean, until I learned to love myself, really, I couldn't give love to people the way I should have. And now I try to give everybody love if I can. I mean, there are certain assholes in this world that I'll never give love to, and they know who they are. But if I had my way, they'd be not on this earth anymore. But that's not the way I can do things. So you gotta kind of fake it a little bit still with them. But they ain't getting love. That's for damn sure. They'll just get mutualness. But yeah, so to get a little back on topic here, because everybody listening to this would be like, this is a paranormal show, what the fuck? But how can someone use astrology to navigate everything we've just been talking about for the last 20 minutes? Like, how can people use astrology to help them guide them through this? I mean, yes, follow the stars like an old Norse sailor, but how can they use astrology for it?
Yeah. Well, oh my God. This is like why I love astrology. There's so many ways. For like, I'm like, which way do I start with? You could start with your chart, honestly. You can just even start learning about the different placements in your chart. Go on YouTube University. I also teach different placements in people's chart. I have a membership that you can join. It's $10 a week. And literally, I give people guidance on how to follow the astrology every single day. And then I also have a library where you can learn about yourself. But if you want to learn on your own, you can go to YouTube. I call her YouTube University. And you literally can pull up your chart on a site and have all of the planets listed out and start by exploring what different planets and different signs in your chart mean. You know, everyone's knows about their sun sign. Your sun sign is the month you were born. That's how, like, you're a Gemini, you know, I'm a Taurus. People know their sun sign. When people say this is who I am, they're talking about their sun sign. But here's the thing, your sun sign is infinite. It is an archetype. I actually look at all 12 zodiac signs as 12 archetypes, and you have all 12 archetypes in your birth chart, even if you don't have planets in one of the zodiac signs. So it's actually good to learn about all of the zodiac signs because all of that energy is within every single person. But I think it's really helpful to go on YouTube and look up your Mercury sign, for example, and watch a bunch of different videos on what it means to have your Mercury in whatever sign. So for Jeremy, your Mercury is in Gemini. It can be really helpful to go on YouTube and be like, what does it mean if Mercury is in Gemini for me? And you can start learning about that. And then you can just gain more awareness over self. I think that's a really great way to start, is to go into your birth chart and gain self-awareness. You can also just book a birth chart reading with me or another astrologer, and that will give you awareness too. But number two, how I like to use it on a daily basis to guide my life, and it's what I do in my membership that I was talking about, is I look at the general energy for the day. So today, for example, we were waking up to a healing aspect. We had Jupiter in Gemini retrograde, sextile Chiron in Aries. I shared this aspect with my membership because I was telling them this is an opportunity for you to heal a wound around self. What this aspect is showing us today, and what we woke up to this aspect. It happened at 3 a.m. overnight. But what it was teaching us is that it's showing us that what caused a wound within ourselves is us focusing on all of these negative stories, these negative mindsets. Jupiter in Gemini right now is helping us grow and expand in our mindset. It's putting a lot of new content out there. It's helping us create new opportunities through us expanding the way we think. You know, it's helping us co-create our reality through thinking more positively and optimistically and opening up our mind. And so because that's what Jupiter and Gemini is doing right now, and it was having a sextile, which is basically saying it's giving you an opportunity to Chiron and Aries to heal a wound around self. When you know that, you can spend today using that energy. You could be like, okay, let me gather all of the evidence that makes me feel bad about myself and put it here. Now, let me gain any evidence that I have that doesn't make me feel bad about myself, but actually proves the opposite is true about myself, and put it here, and even start small. And the way I would use it is knowing that that energy is today, I would do that practice. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, it just tells me where to focus my energy. I have healed really deep emotional wounds within relationships with my partner, for example. We've been together 7 years, and there was this one time we had a horrible fight, like one of those fights where you're like slamming doors and walking away from each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up going to my computer because I wanted to see what the astrology was and if I had an opportunity to finally heal this fight. This was a fight we had had many times over the course of our relationship that had never resolved. And I saw that there was an aspect in the sky, Pluto, which is this planet of death and rebirth, and it's like itches your psychological deepest traumas, was making an aspect to the moon, which is our emotions and how we feel at home and what makes us feel safe and secure. And so when I saw that, as an astrologer, I thought, well, this is a really great opportunity to heal. We're probably in this fight right now because something wants to be healed. And I can stay out and we can just forget about the fight and probably have it again in a couple months, or I can go back in there and I can just shut up and be quiet and listen to him and see if I can use this energy to our advantage. And so I went back in there and I shut up. I said, you just talk and I'm just going to breathe. And I was getting triggered left and right over what he was saying. And I was just breathing because I knew the opportunity that we had. And after about 15 minutes of him going off, he ended up crying about something that was so unrelated to us. This whole fight came down to the fact that he was processing his dad having died when he was 23, and he had one of the biggest cries around his dad he had ever had. And that's like one of those moments where I realized, like, wow, knowing the astrology helped me shut up and not continue the fight, and helped us come to an actual resolution around the fight, and we've never had that fight again. And so to me, that's what astrology does. That's what I do when I work with people one-on-one. It's what I do in my membership, is I'm constantly telling people that the astrology is not just happening to you. These are the opportunities in the sky today. And I also don't believe in like obsessing over the astrology every single day, but I do believe it's good to use if, I don't know, let's say you're feeling a certain way one day. Let's say you're feeling like you're really controlling. You're wanting to control your life. You're feeling really anxious. All of these things are happening and you just want it to get better. And so you're doing this and this and that. That's kind of the energy that's in the sky right now. Pluto's turning direct and there's a lot of like control, like power struggles and control in the air. And so the way, like, if you're feeling that way, then you could check in with an astrologer, or you could check in with your astrologer, or you're in my membership and you can see what's happening. And if you are feeling really in control and like obsessive over your life, to me, astrology gives you permission to be like, oh, this isn't just a me thing. This is an energetic current in the sky and it's got an opportunity for me. So I'm going to sit in this and not resist it, but like find the lesson in it or allow myself to feel it. And so I love using astrology to help people surrender to the flow of life also.
And I mean, you're right. You can't overuse any type of thing like astrology, whether it be astrology. I mean, same with psychics and mediums. You can't go to a psychic every day of the week to try to figure out the answer for that day. If you use anything too much, it's going to work against you. You have to use it when you feel you need to, or when you feel like it's an opportune moment to go look at it. If you look at because like I said before, I used to read my horoscope every day. It wasn't exactly the healthiest mental thing to do, because you're going to start applying things to it that don't even apply to it. You're going to start looking for it to make sense rather than actually letting it make sense in its own natural, progressive way. Because you know what? Your horoscope some days might not even apply to you that day. It may just be, because you got to remember, people are just writing those. They're not really like, they may be actual astrologers writing them or actual mediums or psychics writing them, but they're not going to apply to you every single day. They may apply to this quarter of people that are on that horoscope. It may. And the other 75%, it didn't apply to them that day, because we don't need this. Fate in the universe do guide us, but they don't need to usually persuade us to do things every day of the week. Usually we're pretty good in our own, I like to think.
Totally.
Personally.
Yeah, no, totally. And here's the thing too, is all of those horoscopes people read online, these are general horoscopes. And these horoscopes might not even be impacting your chart. That's why like not all Geminis act the same, because we all have completely different charts. There are limitless combinations.
I hate those fucking memes on Facebook that you see all the time where it's like, oh, best in bed, most toxic sign. And it's like, people are making these. These are not anywhere near scientific, but yet people post them like, oh, 100%. Yeah. No, it's 100%. It's 100% to you because you believe that. And I'm sorry, no, any guy that says that, oh yeah, I'm a Gemini, and we repost the fucking best in bed one, yeah, no. You're just you're just hungry, dude. You're just a hungry, desperate motherfucker. Like, I don't care what anyone says.
Oh my God.
I mean, I hate social media. Dilutes and ruins so many aspects of the spiritual world that it freaking pisses me off. Like, social media is toxic enough, and then to throw spirituality in there and try to use it as like your argument is, unless you're actually someone who is in the spiritual realm and actually can connect these things, and you're using it as legit topic starters or arguments, then don't take what people say on Facebook as anything of value. That's my opinion. That's my advice to everybody in the fucking world. Take Facebook with a grain of salt every damn day of your life.
Totally.
It drives me nuts because like when you said that, like it's just so it is. I mean, a lot of horoscopes are like fortune cookies. They're mass produced, and guess what? They hold no real significance or value to you. They are just little trinkets you get at the end of your meal because you just overpaid for food. So, but yeah, I mean, sorry. Sometimes my anger at this world comes out a little bit when I do these shows.
I agree with you so much. Like, it even upsets me when I see people saying, well, now Pluto is exiting this sign, and it means all of these signs are now going to get a break for the next 14 years. I'm like, that's not true. Why are you telling people that? And all these people with that who have those signs are like, yay, we're finally getting a break. The last 20 years has been so hard. And it's like, that's not even accurate, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, when someone straight up if someone straight up ever said that to me in real life, I'd be like, well, guess what, Buttercup? It ain't gonna happen. But it's just not the way life works. It's not the way life works. So you're not gonna get a break for any amount of years. You get a break for a day, you're fucking lucky. I mean,
Yeah.
life is not supposed to be easy. Anyone who tells you it is either loaded and can make things happen, or they're just delusional because life is not supposed to be easy. It's not our purpose on this earth. And you said it before, past lives. Guess what? We all have had past lives, and if you actually go to a past life regressionist, you'll find out that a lot of your past lives didn't have it easy. Hell, they probably had it a lot worse than you do because times were different back then, and your past lives were probably suffering a lot more. Or were poor, or were slaves, or servants, or who knows? I mean, your past life could be anything. You could be killed in battle when you're freaking 12 in a past life. I mean, our past lives, it's a good thing to get past life regressions on, I think, because it actually teaches you that your life's not that bad.
Yeah, and I think it's actually good to. I'm weird where I think it's a good thing to go through hard times. You cannot appreciate the good things in your life without going through things, you know. And I think about that often. How if everything was just good all the time, we would take it for granted.
Exactly. I mean, I mean, they've done many movies and TV shows about this, but it's the same as when someone who has a lot of money for their whole childhood and in their 20s finally gets cut off by their family because they're making bad decisions. And they realize how hard it is without money. I mean, it's a perfect example of it because just because you had things good for a long time doesn't mean they're always going to be that way. I mean, hell, look at P. Diddy now. He's learning the hard way. He's learning the hard way what things aren't always going to be good because of decisions you make in life. But I mean, it's just the way it goes. It's the way it goes. And you're right. Hardship builds character. A lot of comic strip and television dads have said it, but hardship builds character. It really does. If I didn't go through my parents divorcing, if I didn't go through being bullied my whole life for being fat, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't be as strong as I am today because I wouldn't have had to go through it. I would be weak and still being manipulated by people because of it. You need to build that. You basically need to build that spiritual shell around your body where you can have basically almost like an invisible force field where things are not going to get to you as easily as they did when you were a teenager in your 20s. Like eventually you grow up. Eventually you grow up and you learn that you need to have a shield because the world's not an easy place to live in.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
But well, actually, yeah. Let's talk about this for a second. This actually is a good conversation we should have. How can people in the spiritual field already use astrology to open up their psychic senses?
Oh, yes. This is one of my favorite topics. So, I actually believe that astrology, the way we came to all of these conclusions about it, were because we were mapping our human intuition. You know, we were noticing things that were happening in our lives. We were noticing how we felt, and then we were noticing what was happening in the sky. And we were constantly mapping how we felt with the configuration in the sky. And that is how you tap into your intuition and open up your psychic senses. So we're all psychic, but we've been taught not to use it and practice our psychic senses because if you think about school has been all about, study this and research this and regurgitate this, and it hasn't been about connecting to what you actually feel. We've been very disconnected from the right side of our brain, from more abstract, intuitive thinking. And so the more you follow astrology, the more you start to notice, you can tell what aspects are going on in the sky. So, and the more you understand astrology, the more you can intuitively read people. So I talked about how there's 12 archetypes because there's 12 zodiac signs, right? Like there's Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, the list goes on. And each zodiac sign is like a personality, it's an energy. So if you meet a bunch of Geminis, you can notice a similar energy to them. If you meet someone who is a Cancer, you can notice a similar energy to them. So the more you get in tune with what that energy feels like, you can then feel into a person and whether they have that energy. It's why I'm always so curious what people's birth charts are after I meet them, because I'm like, I feel this in you and I want to see if I'm right. Like I want to see if I have that correct. It's kind of similar to how when you know someone really, really well and they have a certain energy to you, a certain vibe to you, and then you meet someone else and you're like, you remind me of my best friend, or you remind me of this person. That's you using your psychic senses. You're taking an archetype, an energy that you know very well, and you're feeling it in someone else. And then what that does is it gives you information about that person. And usually you're right. You know what I'm saying? And so that's how astrology works. The more you understand the 12 zodiac signs, the 12 archetypes, and you start to notice how they play out in different people, it makes you more psychic. I have a girl in my membership who, she made me so happy when she said this, but she said since she started following the daily energy reports and noticing how her day lines up with what I said, and noticing what the different energies feel like, what the different zodiac signs feel like. She said she went online and she pulled up a list of celebrities and she was guessing which one was a Scorpio. She was going through each celebrity and guessing. And she said after a couple minutes, she was getting like 90% guesses correct. Just from getting in tune with that zodiac sign and that energy, she could look at a list of people and take the energy she felt from that sign and see that it was like that she was correct, like they were a Scorpio. I did that too at a music festival I went to. There was this astrology workshop. I wasn't hosting it, but I attended obviously because I love astrology. And they were going around and having everyone share their sun sign. And before people shared their sun sign, I was guessing. And I guessed like 80% of the time correctly before people said their sun sign. And so that's how it connects you to your psychic senses, is it helps you understand different energies, and then you can, once you get used to that energy, you can see it in different people. And here's the other cool thing: once you get used to what like a transit feels like, for example, like I've gotten really good at knowing what the planet Uranus feels like in the sky. It feels like electricity in your body. It makes you feel very anxious and jittery. And there was a night like a month ago when I woke up at 3 a.m. and I knew the moon was in Taurus and it was going to come to hang out with Uranus at some point. And I woke up with that buzzing energy in my body at 3 a.m. And I thought to myself, that feels like the planet Uranus. I wonder if Uranus is with the moon, because they're both in Taurus right now. And I went and I checked my astrology app and they had just come together. Like literally that exact aspect that I woke up and said it felt like had happened. And so that's how it opens up your psychic senses. When you follow it and you start to connect the dots between what things feel like and what's going on in the sky, you become more psychic. I hope that made sense.
It does. That makes 100% sense. If people see me smiling, it's because whenever people try to whenever people try to change Uranus to Uranus, it always makes me laugh. Because it's like, come on, there's a joke there. Let's just fucking run with it. It's been a joke for thousands of years. Let's just run with it. I don't know what the hell the ancient Greeks were thinking when they named it Uranus, but whatever. But, which actually, okay, here's something I keep forgetting to bring this up with any astrologist on my show, and astrologer on my show, and I want to bring it up because I had this recollection. It may be a, what the hell are they called? It may be a Mandela effect thing even, but I could swear, I remember that when Bush Jr. was in office when I was in my late teens, 20s, they changed the dates that relate to zodiac signs, and everybody's zodiac sign changed for the most part. did that not happen, or like how did astrologers feel about that, or did we just forget about it as society and just go back to the way it was?
They might have it shifted the way it happened in the sky, but here's the thing: people's zodiac sign, like even if the sky shifts and it's shifting where the zodiac signs are, if you were born before that shift, it doesn't mean that you're a different zodiac sign. It doesn't change all the zodiac signs that came before it because the planets were in that sign. And what I think about with the shifting signs is that it's all correct. So I'm a weird astrologer where I believe in all astrology. I believe in Vedic astrology. I believe in Western astrology. I believe in Hellenistic. I believe in all the different astrologies, but they all talk about different things. You know, they all share astrology in a slightly different way. Like Vedic astrology has completely different dates for when the zodiac signs are than Western. But what I've come to find is that they're all correct because they all provide the same story told in a different way.
I was going to say it's just like taking the same history class with 10 different professors. You're going to learn the same history, but it's going to be different points of views, and it's not wrong. None of it is 100% wrong. History. We all know false history exists because the winners decide the history, but still, I mean, it's the same basic message, because it's just because someone has a different point of view doesn't mean they're wrong. It's just there's basic information that's always going to be there, no matter what the topic is, whether it be astrology, science, or history. There's always going to be basic information that is correct. And I've had astrologers on here who are like, "Oh, I don't like evolutionary astrologers because they do this," and I literally had someone say that, and I was like, I got in their face for a second. I'm like, why? I'm like, why are you going to hate someone just because they do it differently than you? That seems very immature. That seems very childish of you, because they're doing the same thing you're doing, just they do it a different method. I mean, you can get the same answer in a math problem doing it 5 different ways sometimes. So why, as long as you get the right answer, why does it matter how you got there? Which is something math teachers.
Yeah,
that's something that pisses me off in school these days, because no, you have to do it this way. I'm like, no, I'm teaching my son this way because it's the way I learned it. And I'm like, it pisses me off, but I'm not going on that rant.
I know. I love that rant. I love what you were saying, because that's what I was also talking about earlier with toxic astrology, that it never is here to put you in a box. Like there's limitless possibilities. Just like there's one story told about something told thousands of different ways. You know, we all live in different realities and different things will resonate with us. But even with astrology, even though they're looking at like potentially different dates for zodiac signs, they're still creating the same combination of angles in the sky. You know, like the core of the story is still the same. So I agree with you all the way.
I mean, I agree. It's the way it should. It's the way it is in this world, and it's why we have not had extraterrestrials really come down and embrace us yet, because they see how we disagree on the stupidest methodologies, and they're like, "Screw these idiots! We're not going to freaking go down there. We're just going to get slaughtered. No, they're going to try to kill us. No, because they're not going to see things in our way, and they're going to think that only their way is right. Like and." Actually, okay, another question I always wanted to ask an astrologer, and since you brought up Pluto, it made me think of it. How do astrologers feel about Pluto not being a planet anymore?
I honestly didn't care, because I'm like, it still creates certain energies in the sky, and we don't always use planets anyways in astrology. Like I use a lot of asteroids in astrology, and even asteroids create different combinations and energies in the sky. Us human beings love to put labels on things, and it kind of goes with what we were just talking about, where it's a planet, it's not a planet. It's like, it doesn't really matter because we notice that it causes this energy here on Earth. And so we'll just focus on the energy, I would say. And the label, I think, doesn't matter as much, whether it was a planet or not, you know?
I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, it doesn't really matter what we call it. It's going to be what it's been for the last millennia since it's been created. I mean, it's still there. It's still sitting there in space. It's not going to change. I mean, it's not like Pluto's going to get all upset. I'm not a planet anymore. I'm just going to go destroy myself. Like, no, it's a freaking inanimate object. It's not going to change. I mean, unless some asteroid or meteor really freaking destroys it. I mean, on which could happen, I guess. But unless that happens, it's not going anywhere. It's still there.
You want to know?
It doesn't have feelings. It doesn't care what we think about it.
Want to know what's
I
so
think.
funny about everything you're saying? So Pluto is about death and rebirth, and Pluto is about giving you empowerment through taking things away. So Pluto shows you your true power by taking your whole life away potentially. And usually people be like, this sucks. My whole life got taken away. This is horrible. But the reason Pluto does that is so that you can find that your true power is within you. And it doesn't matter if things get taken away. You can always rebirth and regenerate it and take your power back from a situation. And when you were just talking about how Pluto's name got taken away, and you're like, Pluto doesn't care. Pluto still got like doing its thing up in the sky. It made me think of exactly what Pluto does. Like Pluto got its name taken away. It's got its planet designation taken away, and it's still powerfully working the same in the sky. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's exactly. I mean, and death and rebirth are very important parts of life because just like a butterfly, or just like Gandalf the Grey, sometimes you have to, die and be reborn as something else, as Gandalf the White, to really become who you're supposed to be in life. I know I probably had about 4 or 5 metaphorical deaths and rebirths. I mean, I didn't really die, thank God, but part of me did, and I got reborn something better even. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm with this podcast. When I started this podcast, I was at a low point, and I wanted to freaking have a rebirth of sorts, and this podcast did that. Anybody who knew me before this podcast will tell you I'm a different person completely since I did this podcast, and 260 episodes, something can't be wrong. So, wow. Right there. And I will say, and actually, okay, but before I forget, there is a song by a band called Avantasia called Stargazers that I think you would really connect with.
I'll listen to it. I'm down.
Because it's been in my mind the whole time you're talking. I'm like, everything she's saying is making me think of this song, because I host a music podcast too, so I always have music in my head. Like I always have things always relate to music to me somehow. But definitely check it out at some point. But well, folks, I hope we gave you an hour of very enlightening conversation and things that made you think, and things that make you maybe change your life a little if you need to. I'm not telling anybody they need to change their life, because that's not my designation. But I want to thank Rachel for coming on. It's been an amazing show. Where can people find you? Where can they find your services? Where can they find everything about you if they want to look into you?
Thank you, Jeremy. I had such a great conversation with you. I love your perspectives. People can find me on my podcast. I talk about astrology. If you want to keep up to date with the astrology, you can follow my podcast. It's the Astrology Magic Podcast. And I've been told that I teach astrology in a way that's very digestible and understandable. It makes it so much more simple, because it can feel complicated for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And then I also have a YouTube. It's at Astrology Life Magic. You can go check that out. I am now off of Instagram. I actually followed the astrology for myself and decided it was time to leave there. So I'm not on there anymore. But you can find those 2 places. And then I put the link in my pod match. So I don't know if you have that, Jeremy, for my free Activate Your Joy 7-day challenge. And I basically teach you how to fast track healing around you feeling joyful in your daily life using astrology and mindset techniques that I use with astrology. And that's a free resource. You'll get on my email list, and I can send it over to you, Jeremy, if you don't have it.
I see it on your pod match. So I will gladly put that link in, of course, your YouTube link and your podcast link as well in the description when this comes out to podcast form. And it'll be all in the YouTube video as well once it's released in that form. But folks, go check it out, because astrology really can help you. It really can. Like we said earlier, don't rely on it like a crutch, but it can help you if you use it sparingly and when you think you really need it. And I mean, check it out every day. Why not? It's something fun to check out. I mean, it may actually boost you that day and make you have a feeling, have some energy, have some happiness that day that you didn't think you could have. Just by seeing something like that, just by something telling you could have a good day, can raise your morals. So, hell, it's not a bad thing. But for all my listeners and watchers, you know where you can find me. If you don't, I've said it about 150 times now, but shame. But check the outro. It's all there. I'm not saying it again. Or watchers, it's been the bottom of the screen for an hour, you silly folks. But come back tomorrow morning. We are doing another Halloween special bracket for all those listeners who love them, and a bunch more of those this month as well because it's that month. And I have a few more interviews this month. I actually think we're a little light in interviews this month, but I got a lot of them in backlog for the hiatus coming up. So I'm slowing down the interviews because, I gotta have a life somewhere outside of podcasting once in a while. But I want to thank Rachel one more time because it's been amazing talking to her. And everybody else, enjoy the rest of your Saturday, wherever you are, however late in the day it may be where you're watching. Enjoy it. It's windy and cold here a little bit, but it's supposed to be nicer later today. Enjoy it because tomorrow is supposed to be nasty from right here. But then again, that could change. Astrology will tell us tomorrow what tomorrow's going to bring. But have a good one, everybody. You can find me on Facebook as Jeremy Bryant, or you can find me as Uncensored, Unapologetic, and Untamed UQ Podcast Collective Facebook group. You can find me on Twitter and the Instagram as @JugglerBastard, or should I say X now. And you can find me on TikTok as @JugglerBastard Podcast. You can also find me on YouTube as Paranormal the New Normal. And you can also find me streaming on YouTube as Blind Knowledge Network. Because all knowledge is blind until they admit Bigfoot exists.
Listen, here's the truth. If it's not something you love to do, automation is mandatory. You didn't start your podcast to spend hours editing clips. You started it to create, connect, and grow your audience. But here's the problem. Every other platform works with video podcasts, and manual editing eats up your most valuable asset, your time. That's where Opus Clip changes everything. Upload your video, and Opus Clip will automatically find the gold nugget moments, auto-clip the captions for the best parts, perfect for TikTok, Reels, and Shorts. 1 hour-long episode becomes 10, 20, even 30 viral-ready clips in minutes. The tool even predicts each clip's viral potential, so you know exactly what to post. No more tenuous editing, no more wasted hours, just you staying in the place that you love to be, creating content that matters. Head to podnationopus.com for your free trial and get back to doing what you do best. Stop editing and start creating now.